Everybody's wondering this morning, we are trying to get bait for our trip. So this is going to be a how to catch your bait to go fishing kind of video. We're out here trying for bluegill. I forgot my setup, but luckily Joe has one that I could use. And we're just going to try to fill up the live well with bluegill because we're going to try to target big blue cats and flatheads, maybe flatheads. And it's winter time, so you know, you really don't know about them. He's getting the trolling motor rigged up. We're getting into position, and we're gonna see if we can't find that bait real quick. We do have backup. We got some frozen bait that I brought, and he also has some bluegill from the other day, but they've been on ice for 2 days, so it's not ideal, but it's a good backup. So anyway, let's get into it. Oh, he come off. They're directly underneath me, Joe.
Yeah, well, we're marking right. See, sometimes I leave them in the rod holder too.
Let them just pull it down themselves.
Sometimes they swallow the hook if you don't get to it quick enough. There you go.
That's a good one. That's a crappie.
Oh, let me get the nail now.
Hey, come off.
Oh no.
We might be marking crappie, Joe. That's okay. He was barely hooked.
You're right. We get away. I have to say I got my crappie jigs in the.
I brought you them jigs all the way here. You can't even use them. How dare you?
People have been catching them here. I mean, we do have. Trying to think. I do have like tiny spoons, but.
Yeah. Okay, we're hooked up again. That's a bluegill.
That's what we want.
Yeah, there we go.
Pat, if you can keep them in here.
Yeah, we'll throw them in the live well.
Yeah, let me do this. Let me get this out of the way. And we can just leave the live well open, you know?
Yeah. Come on, buddy. Come off that hook.
Let me see if I can.
Hey, I wanted to go ahead and stop the video so I could show you the setups that we use out there catching large bluegill. So I didn't have my rod and reel setup with me when I went up there. Joe had to let me borrow one of his. Since I don't have those here, I'm just going to show you what I normally use whenever we go out. So pretty much all you're going to need for bluegill fishing, crappie, anything like that is an ultralight rod. This is a 7 foot, but you can do from 4 foot all the way up to 8 foot, just depending on the situation. You can see here, it's a 7 foot model. It's rated 4 to 10 pound test. That's all you really need for them. They're not super strong. The only time you ever need anything more is if you hook up to a bigger fish while you're trying to catch them. And it does happen occasionally. I've been spooled before by big catfish, you know, picking up a worm, which is pretty funny. Ultralight reel. This is the Okuma Samar. I want to say it's their 1000 size. Actually, it's the 2000. Correction, they have one size lower than this. And just, I think I've got 6 pound test on here, which is kind of like my go-to for catching fish. Whenever you're trying to catch bait, bluegill, crappie, that kind of stuff. Even channel cats you'll be okay with as long as they're smaller. 6 is kind of like that in-between where you have a little bit of strength you can work with, but it's also still small enough that the fish don't really see it as well, so you still get the bites. Sometimes up in Tennessee, the water is so clear, we do drop all the way down to 2 pound test. But you got to be really good about using that because there's not much between you and that fish breaking the line. 2 pound test is pretty easy to snap, so got to know what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of some of the setups that we use up there. I actually have this one tied up since the last time that I went up there with Joe. Because we were fishing in 13 foot of water, all we really needed, since it's deeper, but it's not super deep, is a bite-on weight that you can get from Walmart or anywhere. Pretty much any bait store will cover these. I picked a larger one just so you could see it, but actually I go a little bit smaller than this, down to a little gold brim hook is what I like to call them, this little bait hook. And I'll show you, those are actually eagle claws. So here's a look at the actual pack that I get right here. That's kind of the perfect in-between size for me. You got 50 of them in there. It's like $3 for a pack of them. So you don't have to spend a ton of money to get out there and get a hold of these large bluegill. One good thing about these ultralight setups is you don't really have to spend a lot of money to go out and catch fish. So I want to say this rod, and this is on the higher end of stuff that I use. This is like a $30 to $40 rod, I believe, somewhere around there. And I think the reel is exactly the same. So like $60 and you're good to go. But you don't even have to go that high. If you're just starting and you just need a setup, you could go to Walmart and you could get a setup for like $15 to $20. It may not last forever, but it'll get you out on the water until you're more comfortable with better gear, higher end gear. So, I mean, it's up to you. I like this because this is a higher end setup for bait fishing. If I do hook a bass or a little catfish, I've actually hooked a 20-pound catfish on this. It's strong enough and holds enough line to be able to handle a fish of that caliber, as long as you're from a boat. If it's too much bigger than that from the bank, you know, that can go either way. So, but it is worth getting something like this in the long run because it'll last you. Now, for this last part, I just want to show you a couple of setups that you can do to help you catch those bluegill. So on the rod and reel, you saw I had the split shot go down to a small hook for bait fishing. And the reason why is because it's deeper water, but it's not super deep. So you could throw that out and let it bring your bait down slowly. It only takes 3 to 4 seconds to get to the bottom, which is where they were at because the water was cold, and you're in the fish. If you're fishing shallower than that, you could do the tried and true classic, put a cork on your line with a small bite on weight down to the same hook, and you can catch fish that way. And then the good thing about the cork is it's a bite indicator. So whenever you get a bite, you'll see it bob up and down in the water. It might even go under if it's a larger bluegill, or like I said, a crappie. Any crappie will pull this down with no problem. And then the other setup, when you're fishing in deeper water, which I have had to fish for bait fish in like say 20 to 30 foot, we do a dropper setup. So you tie the hook directly to the line like this, and then underneath it you put a heavier weight like you can see here, and it's just it's just called bullet weights drop shot. I mean, these are cheap. I mean, I want to say it's like a pack of like 3 of them for, I don't know, it's a couple bucks, whatever. It's a little more expensive because it has moving parts on it, but you don't even have to get these. You can get larger bite-on weights, and you can clip them down on the underside down here, and it'll do the exact same thing. So these will get you going. This will get you catching bluegill, crappie, and put you in a lot of bait for catfishing, bass fishing, whatever you want to use them for, or if you want to catch them for dinner. So anyway, we're going to get right back into the video. Woo! I turned it on just in time for Joe to catch a big one. That's what we need right there. Wow.
Small hooks, small fish.
Yeah, well, that's still pretty big for a small fish.
That's a nice one right there. You're right, there is a little bit of current.
They're still here. I think they hugged the bottom. Yeah, that's a good one. Take that all day. Got him.
2-pound line makes a difference, doesn't it?
I think they're just directly under the boat, Joe.
Well, now I'm marking a ton of them. Look at this. Look at this when you get a chance.
Yeah, that's a big one right here, too. That's what we need. We need more.
Look at this.
Hold on one second. Let me get him off. There we go. Oh, yeah, they're all underneath us, dude.
Oh, my gosh. What is this?
That's not a bluegill. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a big one.
Big bluegill. Look at this one.
Woo, yeah, dude.
How many do we have in there, Pat? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Let me get my bait back down there.
Heck yeah,
Dude, this is awesome.
You get a hit?
Yeah, I had him for a second. He hit right under the boat too. Oh, come on. They're hitting almost on bottom, Joe. I'm like bouncing bottom and they're hitting it.
Maybe it's crappie?
It's definitely a crappie. Oh, look at that. On the little jig. Nice. He's still a little small though.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna get us a good one here in a second.
Oh my God.
Look at that beast of a bluegill.
That's on a 2-pound line. I think he's small.
Up and as him.
Oh my gosh.
No hesitation, Joe.
Huh?
Said no hesitation, just in the boat. Look at that. It's as big as your hand, dude. I'm telling you, man.
Well, we've always done good here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he swallowed a Pat. I'm not going to be able to.
Dang. I have to retie a hook.
Like the crappie, the first crappie hook was pretty.
So I wanted to go ahead and stop the audio right now just so I can explain. Over the next hour was some of the best fishing I've ever had for bluegill, crappie, and any other kind of panfish you could think of, to be honest. They were literally hitting the bait within seconds of putting the bait out in the water. Like, as soon as you would get your bait down to the bottom, which only took like 2 to 3 seconds, we would be hooked up with either a giant bluegill or a crappie. It was just absolutely amazing. Even though the water temperature was super cold, it did not stop them from eating. And we just had action literally over and over again for a solid hour. So check out these clips coming up. I tried to put in the best ones that I possibly could because a lot of smaller fish were caught also, and I don't want to show the same little fish over and over again basically. But these are some of the better ones that we had.
Excited for the catfish though?
Oh man, I'm excited for all of it, dude. I love catching bluegill, crappie, and we're gonna try for the kitty cats. There's a crappie right there.
This would be a good one.
Feels a little bit better, Joe. Nah, I don't. He was just pulling hard.
Let's just say that's
I'm gonna try one more time. Another big bluegill. Wow, dude, just giant after giant. It's a good one.
I'm just not feeling them hit, Pat.
Man, that's another big one though, dude.
Do you hear me? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just not feeling them hit.
That's because they're coming up and just going. Like, that feels a little better. Yeah, it's a good one. Whoop. Yeah, you're right. The big ones are further back. You see how easy that is, guys? You just, some days it's like that. They just bite good. Throw this over here and see what happens. See if I can zing it back there. That's not a good throw.
You want to come back here, Pat?
I can go from the side. It's big all of a sudden. Nah, he's a good one though. Man, these are some good bluegill, man. Back home, I know some guys would fight for these things, dude. Good dinner. Ooh, that's another good one, dude. Jeez, man, now they're under the boat, dude. Swallowed it. All right, y'all, that's the end of it for today. We're done catching bluegill. We caught crappie, bluegill, shellcracker, every kind of panfish you could think of. We're about to take them to go catfishing now, but I just want to show y'all what this live well looks like. This is a little outrageous. Look at that. Look at these big old beautiful fish. I mean, these things are as big as your hand. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're going to be incredible catfish bait. But not only that, they'd be great for eating too. If you like catching panfish, you want to go out and get you a bunch to eat, Joe can put you on them. Like this is, like look at what we're, woo, he's kicking. This is what we're talking about here. Look how big this thing is. As big as, it's hard to hold him, but he's big as my hand, bigger than my hand. Let me put him back. All right, that's it. We're gonna end the video here. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff, help me grow. We're about to pack it up and go down river and see if we can't turn these bluegill into giant blue cats. So, peace.